buddy, Gary Barnes. Welcome, Gary.
Well, hey, Ted, it's always good to connect.
So we want to talk about some certainty today. There's a lot of uncertainty, obviously, in the world. And there's
I was thinking about, doing this video with you. And the question in my mind is, has the game changed? And I don't think it has, but the rules have. And because of that, even when we start talking about going back to the new normal or the way it was, the rules are still going to be changing. And so it's really a question for those of us in the, whatever part of the industry you find yourself in. What are the rules that we are playing with now? And what are the ones that are going to be adjusting when we find ourselves 6 months, a year from now? And that adjustment is going to determine really our success.
Yeah, it's like you figure out Facebook, they change the rules. Figure out Google, they change the rules. But I was watching Alicia Barr this morning. She does Facebook Lives every morning.
Yep.
And she had just the most brilliant, simple thing. How do you close more sales? And she says, there's no tricks, there's no gimmicks. Just show genuine interest in the other person, and they'll buy from you.
Well, it really comes down to the three steps that I have been promoting for a number of years now is to be seen, to be safe, and to be relevant. And the game is receiving more connections, receiving more of the perfect clients that we've been looking for. So the game has not changed. What we have actually, I think, reverted to, and what Alicia is commented on this morning, was this is old school. This is about building relationships instead of the trickery or getting 1,000 people in a room. And there's an old concept that you get a number of people in a room, and then you get a certain amount to go back to the back of the room, and all of a sudden the herd mentality takes off, and you have this, sometimes maybe a little more illogical conversion. I was at a event probably now 15 years ago, and the last speaker was a real estate guy. He was selling some real estate program, and I felt like I was in church because he had an actual call, and people were standing up and yelling yes and running to the back of the room. And I called the organizer that following week, and I said, how'd that guy do? And she said, he closed more people in the room than anyone else. I said, so how did he do? She said he had more returns within 24 hours than anybody else in the room, and he's not invited back. And so it really isn't about, how to convert more. It's how to build more relationships.
Yeah, we're old school guys. And I remember one time Frank Kern said, oh, Ted, you're so old school. You're old fashioned. It's like, yeah, but you still get clients by being nice to people, learning about them, being genuinely interested.
And it's about showing up with content, showing up with that you really do care. One of my fairly new clients, we've been putting her out there. She is a coach. And all of a sudden, people have started to reach out to her because they've seen her in the videos, they've seen her content, and they're engaging. They're sending her money. And she had 2 new clients yesterday. It is so fun for me because you and I know this is the basics of what we started with, because when we started, there wasn't any of what we're even doing today. And so the ability on a very inexpensive or free platforms that we have out there to showcase the value that we have is really the key. It's showing that we have solutions for these concerns, these pain points. And when we do that, our perfect clients are going to be curious at least to maybe look at us a little closer. It may not turn into a conversion quote at that moment, but it's about their timing anyway.
Remember the old days? We had a telephone and a phone book.
Oh,
We didn't, that people had to go find people, but now with tools like we're using today, people are seeing us and we're attracting them to come to us instead of us chasing them.
Well, I remember the days when I started out in real estate back in the 70s that we didn't have GPS, we had a map.
Yeah,
We thought it was really cool when fax, the old thermal fax showed up. And it was just like that was cutting edge technology. And now we can virtually push a button and have an audience worldwide if that's something that somebody is really desiring. And because of that, it's really thinking outside the box. Who is it that is our perfect client? Who do we want to attract? Where are they? What do they need? And it's the old, I believe it was J. Paul Getty that said, find the need and fill it. Wasn't it J. Paul Getty that said that?
yeah, yep.
And that has been true forever and will be true forever. Is that really the amount of revenue any business receives in any given year is multiplied by the number of people, or divided actually by the number of people that they have solved problems for. And so if we stop thinking about selling and really engage in what I consider showcasing or sharing, and like a brick and mortar store, you open up, you turn the lights on, you showcase what's on the inside, and people drive by and go, oh, I need to go in there. And why haven't we been doing this forever? Because that is what works.
That's what I do on LinkedIn too. All my competitors are like, "You need more leads from LinkedIn. You need more leads." Like, no, why don't you just take time and build relationships on LinkedIn, which turn into long-term customers and referrals?
Yeah, it's not buy my stuff. It's I forever, and you and I have done this for a long time, where we'll get a request and then we'll reach out and say, would you like to have a connection? How can we support each other? And it used to be about 10% of the people that would reach back out, and now it's about five. And so much as I think there's a fear in the marketplace right now because of what you said about the uncertainty, is that we're grabbing whatever we can. There is almost that you're drowning and you're flailing instead of just relaxing and finding that the people out there right now, I would say for most of our industries, whatever it is that we do, whatever our product or service is needed even more today than it was even before the challenges that we've all faced this year.
Yeah,
And it's about relaxing and allowing people to see us in our natural state. You and I love stages. Well, a lot of those stages, 95% of them went away this year. So how are we doing it? We're doing it like this. This is not my preference, because I love being in front of people, receiving the energy from them.
yeah.
But it's not available at this moment. So do we sit down and just say, well, party's over? Or do we say, okay, what is the way that I can tweak, adjust to be able to still reach the people that I want to serve? And this is another concept that you and I have put our arms around forever, is how do we serve people, not just make money from them, and to be relevant to them in a way that they want to come back over and over and over again, and also refer. You and I have a lot of referral business.
Yeah. And it's because we build trust with people. And this video lets people get to know, like, and trust us better than reading a sales letter from us.
Well, there's a controversy now for the last couple of years whether the long sales letter still works. And I know a lot of people are still using it, but for the most part, I think people are very chunking. They are needing to gather the information, make very quick decisions, because they're having to move faster in their arenas as well. And so, not to bother them. I don't want to be that thorn under the saddle.
Right.
I want to be the resource. They can get the information very quickly. They can, see if it's relevant for them and move on. If it isn't, I connect if it is. And to me, that's what it really is all about too, is, packaging what we have in a way that our perfect client wants to consume it, not how we think they should consume it. And sometimes that gets in the way of we think way too much about what we would want And our perfect clients normally are somewhat opposite us. And so how do they want it?
Right. Most people are on their phone right now looking at our material coming to our website. So you got to make sure you give them, like you said, give them what they want in the format they want.
Yes. And if we do that over a period of time, we will start gathering the momentum, the recognition. And, you know, in the last 30 days, I've had three new clients come on that have been wandering around in the background for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going, the timing element is the thing that can drive us nuts. In fact, I had one of my clients call me about 5 years ago, and he said, "Well, how do I convert my contacts faster?" And I said, "Well, are you wanting to get them to do what you want them to do when you want them to do it, and not in their timing?" And he goes, "Oh, damn." He goes, well, what's the solution? I go, put more people in the pipeline, serve more people, put yourself out there to be seen on multiple levels so that they see you as having a relevancy or to know that you're there. Sometimes when people see us, they just, it's almost like that old, the advertising on billboards or on bus benches is that subliminal messaging the way we see it, but we don't have a need or a desire right then. But when it does happen, we go, where did I see that? Who was that guy? And that's where having the keywords of how we see each other, like the traction coach, and you're the LinkedIn guy, and we have all these different URLs where people can then search on us and find us whenever they do have that need.
And people want to do business with us. Like when I spoke at your boot camp in February, I did a LinkedIn search and there was 2.3 million people on LinkedIn with the word coach in their profile. Last week there was 6 million.
Whoa.
But you know what? Out of those 6 million, people want to do business with us because they get to know, like, and trust us. They resonate with us. So that's where the big factor is.
Well, and we've been around. There is something that has always happened where the therapy uh, industry, where they were, it's cool to be a therapist, and then it was cool to be a coach, and so all the therapists ended up taking on the coach mentality. The people in real estate would go when it really starts to dry out, they'd go into insurance or they'd go in. I mean, there's this revolving door where they were almost chasing the dollar. But, today, that's where we have what I like to call elevate and separate. When we say coach, they many times will think they know what we do and who we are. And it may have nothing to do, well, most of the time it doesn't. It has to do with who they know or what they received as well. In fact, I was on a call yesterday, and one of the things they shared, and they said, we have paid $25,000, $30,000, and you probably have heard this, and I did, from a lot of people that didn't get the results, but just because of the price point, they thought they were going to get, the benefit out of it.
Right.
And that's an unfortunate thing in any industry. Well, even in the coaches in social media, there's a lot of people. I don't know if you narrowed your search down. How many people are teaching LinkedIn now? How many people are just, they all of a sudden become gurus in social media because
Exactly.
they took a class or whatever. And they're, some of them are very inexpensive. Some of them have a fairly good size price tag. But the bottom line is, are the results there? And elevating ourselves in a positive way, not putting other people down, is also a way to separate ourselves, because I refuse to get down and do the political thing of I'm better than because.
Right.
It's just I'm better than because I'm different from. And, it doesn't mean that I have the solution either. It's that I have my solution that has worked for me. You have your solution that have worked for you, and all we're doing is sharing those processes.
Yeah, we don't do the gimmick stuff. It's more just long-term relationships, get to know people. and they refer you, and you do have long-term clients. I have some clients I've been working with for 10 years. It's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's in fact, I just received a gift from one of my longest term clients. I think we're going into our 12th year now. And the little note inside the gift was looking forward to another profitable year working with you. And to me, it's like, that is the gift wasn't the gift. The gift was the card and the trust, the relationship. And, that to me, I don't want to build customers. I want to build client relationships. And there is a difference. It's not transactional.
Yeah. Yeah, those cards are great, aren't they? I got a few last week. It's like, that's why we do what we do.
Well, it's a confirmation that what we're doing is actually relevant. And, I would say most people that are out there really have this same, mindset is really giving on a level that is so beneficial that it's a times X number of return for the investment that people are giving us to give back. In fact, it was funny the other day that somebody was looking at some of my investment numbers, and I said, "Well, it's funny. A number of my clients, I actually have them charging more than I do for the same type of service." And I'm going, "But my number is my number. It doesn't matter." And it's like my kids. I just love to see them win, and particularly now when there's always times when you kind of can fall off the rock and fall into a pot of money,
Hmm.
and right now it's not that way. And so to have people understand what they're doing, why they're doing it, what is the ultimate result that they're looking for, and then putting a plan in place, applying the plan, and being able to sustain what I call the gestation period, the point when you plant a seed, make a connection to a tangible result. That's the bandwidth that if you don't have the ability to stay in the game, you're not going to be there to receive the winnings.
Exactly. It's like farming. You plant the seeds, it takes time.
It takes time, and during that time, it takes nurturing. That's what a lot of people forget too. I mean, it's just you don't plant a seed and then let the weeds come up and kill the plant that you're really wanting to. It's those touches. It's those meaningful touches,
Right.
and without a hook, that's that relevance or the be safe side of be seen, be safe, be relevant. The be safe is doing things without a hook. In fact, I was on a program a couple of days ago, or it was last Friday, and the moderator said, Gary is here, and the one thing I know about Gary is he is here without an agenda, and I hadn't said anything, and then it's just like, wow. And people have been reaching out; they want to connect. I serve as best I can, and I've had a couple of them now starting to warm up to maybe they can risk a little bit and maybe engage on some level. But the intent was still to serve, to give. And what I have really connected to, particularly in this year, is the thing that people buy from all of us the first time they engage is borrowed belief, because most of the time they have had bad experiences,
Yeah.
whether it be, in business or relationships, whatever the connection is. And, it's we have to allow them to acclimate to us to see if we are the right fit. It's not whether we're good enough or we have the ability. It's just, are we the right fit? Our personalities, our timelines, our systems, whatever it might be.
Right. Sounds great. So
That's
you
the thing that I love about you, that you have really created a process, a system that pretty much anyone can morph into. And you take something that, for me, as an expressive, we've known each other a long time. As an expressive, I look at some of the things and I'm going, okay, it goes right over. And it's like, I just give me a button to push, just like what we're doing today. This is the first time on this platform. And I said, before we got on the call, I go, okay, lead me through. What do I do? And, but you make the complicated simple. And it's sometimes the simple is misunderstood as not as valuable. So that's something I've just always appreciated about everything that you do within, the computerized world, because you've been in it.
That's the first time I came to your boot camp and spoke. I don't know how many years ago it was, but you're up there presenting. I'm going, thinking through my presentation I'm going to give. Like, my God, he knows exactly what I'm going to say. I already put it on my slides. So,
That's the unique thing at the events that I produce is that I have never coordinated what my guest speakers do. And we get to the end, and I go, "Do you see a theme?" And it's because of the people that I've connected to, that we have the same thought patterns, the same beliefs, the same mindsets, and it'd be on different topics. But there is a continuity that flows through it that I think if I had really manufactured that or wanted to control that, that it wouldn't have the impact that it does.
no,
So that's
people can
always an
see through
amazing
that.
thing.
Yeah,
People think that we do have an agenda or we coordinate that, and we never have. You and I have never talked about, general topic, but not how your presentation is put together.
right? Exactly. So, you got your 39th boot camp coming up, huh?
Oh, yes, the 39th boot camp is coming up the last weekend in January, 29, 30, and 31 here in Denver. With all the adjustments, we're keeping our fingers crossed. And but in the September event, we added the virtual, which really opened up the international participation. And so we're going to be doing that again as well. You're going to be speaking, and it really is a family event to where people have come back 15, 20 times. I think the most anybody has come back now is 20 different boot camps. And I did that with my coaches as well. And people started thinking that either I was, not, kind of not the sharpest stick in the pile, or the presentation was, and it really isn't that. It's about the relationships in the room, but also that I came back to the events as a different person every time. And I heard different things, even if it had been said ongoing throughout the presentation or throughout the years. It's the same thing with me, but we always throw something new. I have a, a very special something that's going to be happening in January. Um, we got a young lady that's going to be doing something that I think everybody will really enjoy. And so there's always something that I've got up my sleeve because I am an expressive and it has to, keep the attention. After 39 events, you think it gets a little boring, but no, it doesn't. But yeah, the early bird special is still out there if anybody is interested, and it's a lot of fun.
What's the website?
www.breakthroughbusinessmastery.com. And right now, if you're wanting to come in person, we are limiting it to 50 people because we're hoping to go back to Orange to be able to have that many live in the room. The online, the virtual is going to be unlimited, so that is available. Where if we get to, or excuse me, scratch that, when we get to 50, we'll still take people as a reserve. So if we're able to have more in the room, we'll bring those individuals in as well. But the 50 in-person tickets, and we're at 33 at the moment, so we got about, what, 24, 25, 20, whatever that number is. I am a former financial planner. I'm a recovering financial planner. Don't have a calculator in front of me. But, you know, what can I say?
I love the
Actually,
way you
it's
adapted this event from totally in person. Now you adapted. You didn't say,
you know,
boo hoo, poor me, I can't do my boot camp. You figured it out.
well, and we're still figuring it out. If we have to adjust again, we'll still adjust because, again, my belief is people need you and I more now than they did even before the adversity, the complications that we've had this year. And if we sit down and don't lead, what are they going to do? Doing nothing guarantees the end result. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of businesses do that. And we've been seeing, industries shrink. The the restaurant industry, the service industry. Uh, it's an inconvenience, and it's more expensive, frankly, to do the virtuals and all the things that we're doing. But what about the gig workers, all of the service people that support this industry? And it's not a small number. And so, to me, we have a responsibility and obligation to stay in the game, stay in the fight, and to allow people to win in a way that maybe they didn't think they had that potential or that opportunity. And particularly, like what you said, Ted, is that, I mean, I would guess that LinkedIn hasn't changed, maybe 100%, but there are things now that are different with LinkedIn than it was at the beginning of the year. And if we were doing things in the same way, we're not going to get the same result. In fact, you told me, there was a number of years ago after speaking at my boot camp, you went and did something and had what, 200,000-300,000, you know, connections on LinkedIn.
A
And you
video
told me
view.
that, how many?
I had like 103,000 video views.
Oh, 103,000. But you told me the last couple of weeks that if you were to do that again, it wouldn't work because they changed the algorithm. And so just because we read something in the past, it's staying current. It's how to navigate what we have right now, not what maybe worked a month ago or 6 months ago or a year ago.
Yep. So, Gary, what's the URL again?
www.breakthroughbusinessmastery.com.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll see you next month.
Very good.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.